Bigfoot came back.
What?
It was Bigfoot.
Hi, I'm Sean,
I'm Adam.
and this is SasqWatch.
Do you believe in the legend of Sasquatch?
Today we are going to be talking about The Legend of Sasquatch from 2006.
Now, there is also a documentary from the past, also called The Legend of Sasquatch, so I hope you didn't watch that one if you were trying to keep up with us.
Yes, we were talking about the animated film. We were talking
Yes.
about the animated film with William Hurt and John Rhys-Davies.
Yes, we watched this film on Tubi, and I just want to say once again, thank God for Tubi. It's really nice to not have to spend money
Yeah,
on some of the stuff we cover on this show.
they really do have an expansive Sasquatch selection.
Okay, so how do you want to start this off? I guess, how have you been, Adam? It's been a minute since our viewers have seen us, you know? Anything different going on with you?
I'm a broken man, dog. A broken man.
I had to fix the washer yesterday.
Oh, that was
I
quite...
had to change out the
yeah.
suspension in the washer.
It was really fun. From my
I
perspective...
did get a lot of water on the floor.
He did.
The guy on YouTube was repairing his Matt from Appliance Pro. Shout out to Matt. He really that video did help me to understand what I was doing and to realize it wasn't that difficult conceptually. And for Matt, it didn't seem difficult at all. He did it in 7 minutes. But that was with some cuts. Matt was in like this gray void. So he didn't have to like unplug anything from a wall or anything like that. He just kind of had the washing machine there.
Yeah, it was, you know, it's nice to be able to run the clothes without worrying that the neighbors are going to call the police now.
Yeah, it really sounded like
someone being violently murdered in our
Yeah.
house. Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
real throttling.
I guess we should talk about. All right, so the movie. Usually we talk about the plot first. Do you want to talk about the animation first? Do you want to get that out of the way? Because there's no real discussing the film.
I mean, you can see it behind us here.
I think I saw a Bigfoot last night.
Oh, great. Where was it?
Watching this movie feels like
But like,
you're in a computer game that hasn't finished loading, and you just start walking around and everything's really blocky, and you can tell that space isn't what it's supposed to be, and you're like moving through jello. That's what this whole thing feels like.
yeah,
Just
it's
unrendered.
It's about as bad as animation can look. I mean, it's
Look out! It's a whole bunch of them.
It's a waking nightmare. Like it's
it truly is at moments. The characters, when they speak to each other, their eyes dart around the room. Like they're insane, especially like the dad model.
every single line that William Hurt voices the father, John Davis, in every single one of his lines.
He sounds like he's actually half asleep. Like he sounds like they had to like give him like some mild sleeping pills to like trick him into saying all of the lines for this movie.
He looks like he was shot with tranquilizer darts, dragged into... And he's a producer on this too. So, yeah, every single line, it's just nobody's near anybody else. It's all like copied and pasted and put in there. John Rhys-Davies.
It sounds like they captured him and threw him in a dungeon somewhere and forced him to say all of his lines in this like stone-walled, echoey dungeon.
It gets harder to believe in things you can't see. Kinda sad. Unless something comes along and changes the way you look at things.
I don't know, it comes off really creepy. There's a lot of, like, none of it's good, but the dad character in particular, I was constantly, like, unsettled by and just frequently wanted other characters to get away from him.
Shh. Listen. Did you hear that? it's perfectly quiet.
They keep talking like mom is gone, and I'm like, did she find out about what he does? Did he kill her? Like, or, you know, maybe he's just a totally innocent
I think they
civic engineer, and
she's probably dead, but I like to think that she just abandoned her family and just got out of whatever this. It's bad. Whatever situation they're living in is bad.
Girls, today we get to find out how much water has built up behind the dam.
Yeah, is that their plane, do you think?
It must be his plane.
He probably makes a lot of money. I mean, he's working as an like lead engineer on this.
Is he
dam,
okay?
so-
Does he? What is his job at the dam though? Because I think he's an inspector for the dam. But would an inspector move his family to a cabin for one dam? Is he the permanent inspector there?
I think they're probably just there temporarily because the dam's not like functioning properly, right?
The Dave at the dam seemed to be doing his job just fine. It's just there's not enough water.
I think it like there wasn't enough water. Oh yeah, because he was talking about how flooding was going to be good for the.
Why aren't they working?
Right now, there isn't enough water in the reservoir to run the dam.
All right, before we get too deep into the dam of it all, I guess the movie starts with John Rhys-Davies' Ranger Steve.
Yes, he's telling us this story.
Yeah,
he said that we're at a campfire with Ranger Steve, and he's telling us the story of
The Legend of Sasquatch.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I was like, okay, this is the Legend of Sasquatch. I never thought the Legend of Sasquatch included the Davis family. But they're integral to it, I guess. So
At least at this juncture.
How far to our new home?
It's right above the waterfall.
John Davis is flying his daughters, who are played by Jewel and Blaine. Blair. It's Blair. It's not Blaine. The daughters, played by real-life singing sister duo Jewel and Blair Ristano. Just look them up. They still do music. They're still active
I think
presence.
they have their own YouTube channel.
Yeah, you can watch them do covers of other popular songs, or like rate French fries, or like, you know, if you want to catch up with the girls, they're still doing stuff. You know, we have lost William Hurt since the.
Correct. I guess I'm gonna reveal this now because I just found out about this recently from Sean. You know, what are they gonna do with the dad character in the upcoming sequel?
Oh my god.
And also, are Blair and Jewel returning to the roles?
I can't imagine that they're back. I mean, maybe.
You can go to the website for Bigfoot Halloween.
The Big Bigfoot Halloween Adventure.
Okay.
That is the sequel that is happening to this film. I'm going to talk about that later.
Yeah,
I
we'll
can't get into
We
that.
may even cut this part out so you don't even know about it yet, in which case you won't even see. You'll just find out later.
Maggie, you're gonna be in big trouble when Dad hears about this. Maggie?
Was there anything else mean you want to say about the animation of this film? Because I just, I
Is
really...
there more? I mean, it's terrible. Look, those are pine cones.
Yeah, those are pine cones. There's a lot. This movie's weird about pine cones.
Yeah,
It's
apparently the Big
obsessed.
Feet use them for everything.
Yes.
And we see that in action, I guess. I mean, for the most part. Except when they use crystals. Because they use crystals for other stuff.
So John Davis flies his daughters, Christy, spelled with a K-H.
Khristy.
What a weird way to spell Christy. Ugh.
And his other daughter, who's kind of our main character, Maggie.
Maggie.
Yeah, and then his dad is named John Davis.
Christy, Maggie, I'm home.
So they get their plane to their new house in the woods. John's unpacking the plane, and some of that animation there. God,
That was like what you thought was like kind of the worst piece of animation in the whole thing, right? Is when he drops all that stuff.
that was the worst piece of animation. But then later on, there's a scene of John running through the woods, and there's just something about that like soupy, just like weird 2D just gloop that I felt like I was getting sick watching it. Like I was just closing my eyes, like
So that's the part that physically hurt you the most?
Yeah, that's just like the Freddy Krueger of it all, where you're just like, this can't be real. This can't be right. Like, if something is wrong with the way this movie looks, and it's very core.
You felt like you were in like a Freddy Krueger nightmare while you were
watching. Kinda, yeah. I don't know, it's only mere moments into the movie before the soundtrack hits. And that's where, again, I don't want to be too mean, because I know these are real little girls in the movie singing these songs.
I don't think they're, like, singing is, like, wrong. I don't think they're singing the songs wrong.
But listening
the
to...
songs are really bad. Though.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of them, too. We start with Imagination.
I can dream as the wind. I can dream as far as the sky. I can dream with all my might, all my life.
I knew when I saw this movie and realized that there's going to be a lot of singing in it, that I was going to have to write down little clips of like the songs, because otherwise I would just totally forget about them, because I knew they were going to be forgettable and probably not very good.
Yeah.
So we've got such hits as I Can Dream as the Wind, I Lost My Sunshine, Where Did She Go, Try and Work Together.
Odie-Do was the part where like you were like, is this a song?
And Wake Me Up With Your Big Smile. They really got some bangers in at the end there.
They did. So they get there.
So John is here to help
inspect the dam.
Yeah.
Something with the dam.
I think it's like not generating power properly, or like you said, there's not enough water.
Why aren't they working?
Right now, there isn't enough water in the reservoir to run the dam.
Then they like have a singing montage where the family works together to
like
clean
get
up
the house
pine
ready.
cones.
Oh yeah, and clean up the pine cones.
Well, they said the place needed some cleaning.
Let's get to work.
Sometimes you just give up. Sometimes you just look down.
And then we see Bigfoot peering through the window of the house of these small children spying on the girls.
Right.
It's a children's film, so it's not supposed to be creepy, but it is deeply upsetting because it's like the second story of this house, and you're like, what's going on?
Isn't it like the little Bigfoot too?
Yeah, it's baby
It's like
Bigfoot.
the baby Bigfoot,
So pretty soon, the youngest daughter has a Bigfoot encounter in the shed.
He starts stuffing it with the pine cones again.
Then she tells her family, and she isn't believed. Nobody believes, because they don't really believe in the legend.
But then the pine cones are back in the shed, but I think they just think she does it.
I guess. I'm not sure. That's about when we found out that Mom is dead or gone.
Do you think Mommy would have liked it here?
I'm sure of it.
She's also having these dreams, right? Before she wakes up.
I don't think so. I think that
she's just like waking up and then seeing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also every now and
dream
then
until later. Yeah.
We check in with Cletus McNabb, who is a local hunter, there with his dog, who we believe's name is Dog.
My long lost sunshine. Been so long I can't remember what she looked like. I'm a broken man, Dog.
At one point he says something like he's trying to like convince it to save him at the end, and he was like, I'll even give you a name. So I guess its name is Dog, but it's spelled D-A-W-G, and that feels like a name to me, right? Like that's a name.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't really.
I know that.
Those are two of the like worst characters to like look at, and like that whole storyline doesn't affect anything else. Like they never even meet the other characters to my recollection, and like he just keeps getting foiled as a side result of what the other people are doing.
Yeah, in this children's film, the B plot is Cletus McNabb sets up elaborate traps to capture Bigfoot. They go wrong. He's like hit on the head or falls to what should have been his death in one scene, and then the big joke is that he yells at his dog. He beats his dog, doesn't let his dog get shelter from the rain.
Right.
That's the kind of comedy we're getting here. It's just animal abuse from Cletus McNabb.
He got away. And if I didn't know better, I'd think maybe you were trying to help him out. So no dinner for you tonight, dog.
Cletus is peppered throughout the entire film, but we can just put a pin in him now because it's just that again. It's just every 10 to 15 minutes, Cletus will pop back up, fail, and abuse his dog. The film peters on until we get to the dam and we meet Dave, who works at the dam.
You're early, John. We weren't expecting you until next week.
And then we get just a couple minutes of here's how dams work, which I guess is fine for kids if they want. It's more complicated than what the movie says, but
it really is just like it uses the water and turns it into power for the town, and that's pretty much.
What town? There's no town.
I don't think they said town. That was like the general basicness of what they give you.
This is the control room. Sort of like your brain controls your body.
So then some nights pass, and then Maggie goes out and she meets baby Bigfoot, and then the mother Bigfoot shows up.
Yes.
And that's when we find out Big Feet can fly.
Yeah, because she chases the little Bigfoot like through the woods, and then when she finally catches up to him and realizes she like doesn't know how to get back or where she is, then the Bigfoots suck in air and like puff up and fly through the air.
When Bigfoot started flying, I had to be like, check my bearings. Like, do I know what's going on in this movie right now? Am I 100%? I am, because I'm taking notes. And I'm like, yeah, they just lob that at you. So I think that they're saying that Bigfoot can fly because of the inflatable stuff. But how would that have to do with being able to direct yourself through the air? I'm not sure. But yeah, Mama Bigfoot comes and they grabs Maggie and her child Bigfoot, and they kind of fly through the air, and they go back to the Bigfoot underground water layer place.
Right, where there's a whole community of them. You can see they've got like benches and beds and stuff made out of pine cones.
Well, I love
somehow.
how in the film the Big Feet cannot communicate with like
they only like
they make these noises, which Adam started making fun of during the film. As the film kept going, he kept getting more aggressively making fun of the Bigfoot noises.
And they just kept doing it like we had any idea what they were saying, and like it was just unnecessary and silly. And I get it, it's a kid's thing, so maybe it should be silly, but
think
it
about
wasn't
it though.
funny though. It was just like
This species
gibberish.
doesn't have a written language. They can't communicate with people, but they can make a miniature dam model to show this little girl, like, the dam is gonna flood our home.
Yeah, they don't
They made it complete with a little, like, dam thing they can push down.
As they were like going into like a big office meeting to do like a presentation for a new project.
Yeah, and this little kid who just learned how dams work is like, the dam's gonna kill you all.
Oh no. The dam will flood your home.
So now she's got to communicate that to her father, who works for the dam. So you're like, this is going to be the conflict of the movie.
Right.
Is should this dam exist? But
Before this, though, our main characters, like, after they go to the dam, they then meet Ranger Steve while they're out messing around with a ladder, trying to look at some owls.
Yeah, the girls
they spend like what appears to in-world be like at least 5 minutes trying to set up a ladder to go up a tree and just like smile really close at some baby owls.
Yeah, I want to take a quick second to be like, if you're showing this film to your kids, maybe tell them, don't handle wild birds. Like, everything they did with that ladder is incorrect. And you can make pies out of berries you find, but not like that. Don't just find a bush in the woods and start eating the berries off of it. You're gonna get sick.
Both like taking your family's ladder and putting it up against a
just a
tree.
Just a tree.
Like not even like a regular tree, because you could probably get like it pretty stable against like
an oak,
something. But this is like a pine tree, so it's like covered. It's not like gonna be that stable. The one girl did hold the ladder for the other girl, but like I don't know. Either way, I wouldn't let my kids go take the ladder out in the woods and try and like.
This movie's gonna get some kids killed
and stuff.
It's gonna get kids killed, or at least some baby owls are gonna die if people don't know.
The berries is definitely worse for the kids, where it's like don't just be like, oh, these are blueberries.
Yeah,
like, no,
I'm gonna
smear
them across my face. So
that caterpillar's eating them.
Oh, that caterpillar was gross. That caterpillar was gross. It was already a bad-looking movie, but when we get that caterpillar turns
She's
its
like
head,
watching it, and then it like, does a nice close-up shot of the caterpillar with like blueberry all over his mouth.
Yeah, it looked like it was eating some like ass and didn't want to. That's what that thing looked like.
Oh. And then, as they're watching the caterpillar, Ranger Steve shows up behind them, so we find out he's not only like our narrator, he's a character in the movie as well.
Sorry. Did I scare you?
And he's like, oh, hey, I know your dad. He asked me to come find you. And they're like, oh, okay. Do you know about Bigfoot? And he's just like, yeah, I might know about Bigfoot.
Then you must know about Bigfoot.
Maybe.
Maybe.
And then he like talks a little bit.
Do I know about Bigfoot?
He's kind of weird.
What do you know?
Bit. He like comes in and is like,
what have you heard?
Daughters of Davis.
Daughters of Davis?
Oh yeah, this is the John Rhys-Davies character, by the way.
God bless. At least I'm not going to say that his lines were well mixed into the film, because every single
the most entertaining part.
Yeah, he can't help but give you the magic.
I thought you were a Bigfoot. Again with Bigfoot?
No, I am Stephen Walker, but my friends call me Ranger Steve.
He sounds like a mixture of Gimli and Gandalf just like walked in, or like he came right out of the wardrobe from Narnia and just like showed up.
She had a dream about Bigfoot. It wasn't a dream.
When I was a boy, I used to dream about Bigfoot all the time. I wonder where those dreams have gone.
I love when his character and William Hurt's character in that like weather tower, because you can tell like just listening to their two performances next to each other.
There's no way they even like it almost feels like they didn't even know what the other person's lines were gonna be.
This valley is going to flood.
Flooding's good for business. We need the water to power the generators.
Too much water, too much power is a bad thing for Sasquatch Forest.
John Rhys-Davies is just over there like, the storm will be here soon.
William Hurt's like, do you believe in Sasquatch?
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, well, some rain will be good. The flooding will be good for the dam. That'll be really nice. We'll start to get some energy in. And then he's just like, oh, I think it will be bad for the forest.
Flooding isn't good for Sasquatch Forest, John. But flooding helps power the dam.
Do you believe in the legend of Sasquatch?
I believe what my father and grandfather told me. Bigfoot are dreamwalkers. They visit children in their sleep and teach them to respect the woods.
Do you think they're real?
And then from then on, every time John Rhys-Davies shows up, he's talking like he's a wizard. And then we find out like that he's like met the Sasquatch he talks about how he's been here for many years and like he's old. So like it's like, oh, maybe he's been here for like 50 years, but I think he's been here for like 150, maybe 350 years. he's talking like he's been here for ages.
But we must try, Daughters of Davis. For as long as we keep trying, there is hope.
I love when John asks him, he's like, do you believe in Bigfoot? And he's just like, well, I believe what my father told me. And there's a pause. that Bigfoot are dream walkers that
Oh,
come and communicate with you while you're sleeping, and that yes, they do very much
with
exist.
children, not just with anyone.
Yeah, he started like, well, maybe, and then it went 111%. Like, dials broken off. I believe
forgot
in
to add the
Bigfoot.
Narnia tinge to that line though, where he was like, "I believe what my father told me and what his father told him." Oh no!
How can you tell that life is not a dream?
I forgot how much you like to preach.
Feels like he's in a totally different movie for the most part. He feels like he's in this.
He's
like,
in a happy
fantasy
place.
adventure. They're calling him a ranger, and he's dressed like he's like a park ranger. But I think he's like taken some levels of ranger. Like, I think he might have magic powers.
You did the right thing. We are lucky to have had your dream, or we may not have been prepared for the worst.
We have done one more thing on him. When the girls first go home, they're like, "Oh, hey, we met Ranger Steve today." And the dad's just like, "Oh, yeah?" And the one girl's like, "He was kind of weird. He was like talking about Bigfoot a lot." Then the other girl is like, "He scared me." And then the dad's like, "Oh, Steve's my friend. Like, he's cool. Well, don't be afraid of Steve."
Dude, that's how he reacts to everything.
Yeah, but
when the
I'm just
daughters
like-
are like, "Hey, I saw Bigfoot last night," he says, "Oh yeah, did you? Okay."
I get that,
the
though.
big feet, he sees them. He's like, "Oh, they're real." That's this guy has no. That's as far as his emotion. That's why his wife is gone. That's why she's gone.
Christy! Maggie!
Do we even know if John really asked the ranger to go look for them?
No,
Because
we
now that I
don't.
think about it, like he just shows up and he's like, "Hey, I'm Steve. My dad said, your dad said that I should come find you." And then they go and they're like, "Hey, Dad, your friend Steve.
He's
he was
really
kind of
weird."
scary," and he's just like, he's just like, "Oh, come on."
He knows
man.
a lot about Bigfoot.
You could at least ask him. So I understand, like, maybe you really do think Steve's awesome, but, like, you could easily ask him some more questions. Or, like, at least be like, "Oh, no, I told Steve to find you." But he never says that, so we don't know whether Steve was even telling the truth.
We have to contact the authorities. They're the only ones who can help us now. Oh!
So the next thing that happens is that nobody believes Maggie about Bigfoot or the Big Feet community. So she takes her sister into the woods. They fall down a hill again. We got a lot of falling in this movie. They fall down the hill, and then there's
We got a
Mama.
lot of falling in this season of Sasquatch. I hope
Yeah.
it continues, because, like, you know, it's an archaic form of comedy, but it's,
I'll
it
take what I
gets
can
me.
get, you know.
It gets me.
It wasn't as funny this time as it was in other films. They fall down this hill, and then they find Mama Bigfoot just kind of like resting in the river. And it's like, oh, okay, so they are real.
It's Mama Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah, we gotta have. That's when the song happens.
Don't they, like, float on Mama Bigfoot? Like, she's, like, T-posing in the water. Like, the model looks so stiff.
Yeah.
It just, like, floats, and then they do the Do-Dee-Do song. Or what do you-
Do-dee-do. Yeah, that was that was another time where I had to be like, what's going on right now? Is this a song? So within minutes after they meet, the older daughter, Christy, meets the Big Feet. Then John comes home, finds his children are missing, and he goes running into the woods. And that was again where I was just like watching the animation, and I was like, somebody did this. And if you're gonna try and tell me it was 2006, go check out the website.
Go to the website and look at the thing. They've really tried to preserve the look and feel of this film. All our favorites are coming back. I don't know if we're getting Dave, the dam worker.
So the next thing is John meets the Big Feet, and he's like, "Oh, you are real, okay." And then they like anoint him with a freaking. They're just like, "All right, kneel, John," and then they like give him
Knight him.
Yes, you are Davis of the Sasquatch clan.
Yeah. Oh, and that's also when they find out that like Steve, he's like in there with the Sasquatch, and he's like,
oh yeah, he's just like, I knew the whole
I've known
time.
for years. They revealed themselves to me, and that's a thing. Another thing to talk about with the Sasquatches that we see in like almost every movie is that they don't really want to be known or found.
Yeah.
And like they can like reveal themselves to people.
The legend of Sasquatch is real. It's a secret that could not be told till now.
So then after all of the Davises are on board, the next chunk of movie is largely about pine cones. It's about that the Sasquatch live in this cave and they're going to be drowned when the dam the dam already exists. So I'm not sure if there's like a big rain coming.
I think there's the storm coming and it's going to build up too much water, and I don't know if the dam can handle it, or like maybe it's just like it's just going to build up too much water because the dam is there.
So they come up with a plan. At one point John does say to Ranger Walker, he's just like, hey, you could have told people that the Bigfoot were here and they wouldn't have built this dam.
Yeah, he's like, they've got like provisions to like, save these wildlife areas, and he's like, and interrupt their way of life?
The government has provisions for this. They could protect them.
And ruin their way of life? They're not animals to be kept by men.
But we're just like, no, the point of those provisions is to like preserve their way of life.
Yeah, that's a reason that people don't build stuff in Yellowstone. Like, there's a reason.
Is a house more important than the family that lives in it? Or the land more than the life in it? All they seek to preserve is their family and the life they choose. Is that too much to ask?
I don't know. I guess they don't want to, so there's a level of like consent there. I guess, can he speak with them?
I don't know.
He hasn't had dreams since he was a child. I wonder where those dreams have gone.
I wonder where those dreams have gone.
So the plan that this dam inspector comes up with is basically what they do is they gather what had to have been hundreds of thousands of pine cones, and they put them in the river. And then John, like, Mission Impossibles his way into the dam that he works at.
And then he, like, locks the door. He does the classic, like, lock the door and go in and try and do the thing while his boss is, like, banging on the door.
No, but he is that guy's boss.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so I don't know why he did that. He could have just told him, like, hey, I'm turning the thing on. Like, hey, I flew here. I don't know. So they turn on the turbines, and they mash, again, what had to have been hundreds of thousands of pine cones into a pulp, which goes into the water source, and then the Big Feet and the Davises, now in conjunction, they smear it everywhere. They basically take buckets of pine cone pulp.
Yeah, they want to use it like a paste or like a glue.
I don't even know how that would work. There's
so
nothing
then they
adhesive.
would collect like the wet pine cone pulp.
Got to seal up the cavern before the rain starts again.
I tried to look into it, and what I found was a YouTube video where this woman made pine cone paper, and when I watched her like handling the pine cone pulp, my thought was there's nothing adhesive about this. There's nothing about this that would make anything stick together.
I didn't think that
at all.
I mean, they have like sap on them sometimes, but like if you want sap, like use sap.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
Yeah, so
it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
You wouldn't think that would work, and then it doesn't.
Yeah, you sit through the whole thing. You watch them come up with the plan, execute the plan. There's that weird scene of everyone there. The Big Feet can't talk, so just going smearing this crap against the wall.
It seems like
it's the same color as the wall.
95% of their problems with pine cones and like 5% with the crystals. But I feel like maybe they should have gone. I mean, the crystals were what were in danger here, I guess.
The crystals, I don't even know if they're just handling them in the background sometimes. They could have been anything.
Then maybe they channel their dream walking powers through the crystals in some way. Or like maybe it's just a symbol of wealth, like the chief has the crystal, but none of the other ones really like carry crystals on them.
This is Chief, the leader of the Bigfoot. Sort of a shaman. His wife, we call her Mama. Baby.
So their plan just fails because I don't think that John Davis is a really good engineer. I don't think he have the job he has. But anyway, it fails, and somebody's like, well, what's going to happen? The big feet don't want to go. And you're like, okay, so the new conflict of the script is going to be that this race of animals doesn't want to move and they're going to die. And then within seconds, they're just like, well, they like to dream, so I guess they'll just figure it out. And then
the little
they
girl
just
has
go.
a dream about the plan not working, and then she's like, I think I should tell them, because she tells Steve or her dad, and they're just like, well, the Bigfoot like dreams. We should tell them about it. And then they tell them, and they're like, oh, well, let's get out of here.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're like, I guess we're going to go. And then they're just like literally farting their way into the sky.
One of them literally does. They throw a flying fart joke in there.
Yeah, they do. And I'm not saying a kids movie can't have fart jokes. I'm just saying that this movie didn't try very hard, because
it did.
It's such a lazy script. It's such a lazy. So yeah, the big feet fly away,
and then Ranger Steve's like talking to them in the wrap up of it all. I don't think anything else happens with the big feet, right? They just kind of fly away. And
they fly away, and then Maggie wants to say goodbye.
Everyone that I love goes away, just like Mommy.
So then Mama Bigfoot comes back, and then they fly away together.
Yes.
Oh, remember that? They fly in different directions. That one Bigfoot's flying over, like, New York City.
Yes, that's right. They like spread. I guess they spread out across the world or something.
Yeah, we can't tell the government to protect them, but they can fly over the metropolis area. That's no problem.
Yeah, hopefully they don't hit a no-fly zone.
Then the Davis family, I think towards the end, is actually officially invited to join the tribe.
Did I write down love crystals? Oh, Bigfoot loves crystals.
I literally, one of my notes is Adam stopped taking notes. Like, you at one point just gave up on the plot of this film, which is fine.
No, my last note is I love you, Mommy.
I love you, Mommy.
That's it, because at the part you were talking about where she says goodbye to the Mama Bigfoot, it like floats up in the air, and then we get the song that has the lyrics that include If I Had the Wings of an Angel.
Yeah.
And the Bigfoot like floats in the air, ascending, and she's just like, "I love you, Mommy." And then the Bigfoot flies away, and we're just like, "We never knew your mom. We don't know what happened to her."
That's when
this Bigfoot is like, "How's this?" Like, it doesn't work.
Spent most of the film just kind of like letting the movie happen, and I was like, "This is fine. Like, I don't care about this. I picked this movie on purpose because I wanted to make Adam sit through it." But when she said, "I love you, Mommy," to the Bigfoot Sasquatch, I was a little pissed. I was like, no, that is the laziest piece. She's her dead mother, her missing dead mom's gone crap, mentioned 2 times throughout the entire film. Maybe 10 seconds of content for that unearned bull crap of Maggie's over her mom. The point of the movie was for Maggie to accept that her mom's gone. No.
The legend of Sasquatch doesn't end here. It lives on for other generations to tell.
We accidentally found out that there's a post-credits scene. We found that out because Adam was pacing and really wanted to play Baldur's Gate, and I insisted on listening to the entire credits song, saying that it was part of the film experience.
Oh my god!
I told you. I said it's not long enough, and you screwed her. I don't know what this is.
We got some orcs up here or something.
It's like a troll movie.
Oh my god!
It's not actual trolls.
Yeah,
even that looked pretty bad.
Get that crap off of here.
What is Trolland?
It's spelled like troll land, but troll uses 2 L's. Like you use 2 L's to spell troll, so it's Trolland.
Trolland.
We owe you a great debt. You are now part of the legend of Sasquatch.
Then Ranger Steve comes up to them too during the wrap up, and they're just like, "Now you are part of the legend of Sasquatch."
Yeah, the Davis.
Just like, oh, you get to say, Steve, what the legend is.
Well, what did the Davis family really do to become a part of the tribe? Because John didn't do
John
his plan.
sabotaged the dam.
But it didn't matter because they
all
flew
left.
away.
Yeah.
They flew away. So they fly and fart away. And then the children sing with Mama Bigfoot, If I Had the Wings of an Angel. And then I think there was 2 songs. I also have Happy Me song.
I have the Wake Me Up With Your Big Smile. So that must have been like the happy song the next day.
They're saying that with the power of imagination and believing in Bigfoot, you can do anything.
Yes, I have the quote here. You can do anything when you've got Bigfoot magic.
Is this a dream?
Yeah, Maggie, and you can do anything when you've got Bigfoot magic.
It's really only in their dreams. I don't know if you actually can do anything with Bigfoot magic. I don't know if you can... it's unclear. You can't do anything with pine cones. That is
No,
clear.
I really
don't know
don't.
about the Bigfoot magic. You can do anything in your dreams with Bigfoot magic, but some people can do that anyway. So maybe they have Bigfoot magic.
Are we done with the plot?
I think we're done. I mean, that's pretty much it.
There was the post-credit scene.
Oh, there was the post-credit scene, which I guess now we are getting a sequel, which is crazy because this movie came out like
2006.
almost 20 years ago.
Yeah. What happened was the credits started playing, then all of a sudden we're back in the movie. And Dog of the Cletus McNabb thing, he's gotten tired of being abused by his owner, and he goes to be the new pet of Maggie and fill the mom-sized hole in her heart. So there you go.
No, Bigfoot Mama filled the mom-sized hole in her heart.
Yeah, but then she flew away. So
I love you, Mommy.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll explore the feelings of abandonment that she feels after. Or maybe they've kept maybe they're like pen pals with the Sasquatches now. I mean, they can clearly fly pretty fast anywhere they want, so maybe they just come to her house sometimes.
Well, all right, then the movie is over. So
Except for the credits start to roll. As it's rolling, I see the special thanks to section. And I look down, and I'm like, special thanks to Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
Spelled with R-I-A-N, so I'm pretty sure it's the same guy.
I didn't look it up. We'll make Pat do that.
I haven't yet either. What were you doing with this,
Ryan? This was around when he did Brick, so maybe it's a different Ryan Johnson. But I want to use my Bigfoot magic to believe that the man who did Last Jedi had his hands in this soup. I'm honestly curious if Pat would be able to animate us better
than that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to believe that he could do it.
I don't know if that helps.
As far as beyond the animation. Let's move beyond the animation. The sound. There was the songs, the original songs. I'm not going to be mean to little girls who are singing. They continue to make music. It's not their fault.
They sound like, then they were children. Children singers are fine. I don't remember if we've talked about how I feel about child singing. I feel like most of the time I don't like it.
I remember it was like a lightning bolt, like a Zeus lightning bolt of a flashback to going on family vacation as a kid and listening to Kids Bop in the back seat and just knowing that I was stuck in this car and that I had no control over anything in my life. That's what that kind of music makes me think of.
Those commercials, they got me at least once because I remember asking my parents, oh, can I get Kids Bop 4 or 10 or 22 or whatever one
How
it was?
many Kids Bops are there?
They stopped numbering them, but they still do it. They don't want the kids to know now that it's old and not cool, even though it was never cool.
No.
But anyway, at one point I was young, I asked my parents, and my dad, who's an avid music lover, was like, no. He's like, no, those are terrible.
We shut that down.
He's like, you can listen to those songs, even though I don't like most of those either, but you can't have that. I won't listen to it. I won't have it. And so, thank you, Dad. Thank you for that.
Hey, dog. Look at here. Look. Bigfoot tracks. And judging by the size of them, it must be a baby.
It's not well mixed. None of the voice acting is layered in any way that makes you believe they're sharing a space together. The cast is surprisingly, like, there's William Hurt, obviously, who, like, if you don't know, he's been in a lot of movies. Newer kids would know him as Thunderbolt Ross, right?
Yeah, and the Marvel MCU.
Yeah, and then he passed away. So he's not... I'm assuming he's not going to be voicing John Davis in the sequel. I mean, maybe there's some, some seance work going on with that film.
I don't know. I mean, it
Is that what they call AI voice work now?
Oh, yeah, the AI. We could just steal his likeness and voice.
It does kind of sound like his performance in this movie was already posthumous.
But Bigfoot are giant with lots of huge teeth.
I was actually a little bit shocked, though, to find out that the people who voiced the Sasquatch are Fred Welker and June Foray.
Yeah, they got Freddy to come in here. They got good old Scooby-Doo's Fred and Scooby himself for many years now to come in here and go.
Well,
and that's like all he does.
And then Mama Bigfoot is June Foray. She was she's in Rocky and Bullwinkle, and she was.
Is she Natasha?
Yeah.
Moose and Squirrel.
Yeah, that's who they got to come in.
Got to go.
You have to imagine, like, I don't know how these people felt about it, but if you're Fred freaking Welker and you've been in the original,
I think his name's Frank. Is it Frank?
It is Frank. If you're Fred, it plays Fred. if you're a celebrated animated voice artist who's been in some of the, like, those old Scooby-Doos look so cool, and then when you record yourself, you can't know what it's gonna look like. To record yourself, and you see this. You have to be a little bit less prideful. You have to just be like, oh.
Could you ever be prideful about a performance that consists of 2 lines of gibberish? Like, they're not even meaningful for the story. They could literally have the big feet just, like, nod, but I feel like they just needed them to make noise to give these, like, models more life.
When you tell me that their language is... I'm like, well, they're idiots then. They're fools. They live in a cave. Like,
They sleep on pine cones.
Yeah,
They can't be comfortable.
This pine cone is only a shell.
Let's move on to social value. Would you show this film to your kids?
No.
Yeah, I have nothing to add. It's a no.
They puff up like a hot air balloon, then take off lighter than air.
Did you learn anything about Bigfoot or the legend? What's your take on the legend of Sasquatch?
This one took the, like, massing up air and flying through the sky Bigfoot, because we got flying through the sky Bigfoot. We've only had that twice, and both of them were Scooby-Doo, and neither one was like a real Bigfoot. So now I like that this one literally has the exact same, like, sucking in air and blowing up and flying through the air as, like, the Scooby-Doo chill out movie or whatever it was that we watched.
See, I like that this one got into the Dreamwalker of it all, because when we started this show, I'd seen a lot of Bigfoot movies. I did not know that there was actually a sub-genre of movies where Bigfoot communicates with you via your dreams.
Do you think they're real?
Dreams are real.
Are you ready to rank this film?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to rank this one first. I said that I hated this movie. I really didn't like it. I didn't care about it until the end when they tried to tack on that, like, journey of letting go of dead mom. Like, as soon as they did that, I was like, screw this movie. Screw this movie. But if you put a gun, if you break into my, if I'm held hostage, life or death situation, they're bad people, and they're like, you are going to die if you don't either watch The Legend of Sasquatch or Bigfoot or bust. I would watch The Legend of Sasquatch. I would do that hands down, so it can't be 0. So I'm going to give this half a Bigfoot. Just to establish that the absolute worst score is still Bigfoot or bust.
Yeah.
That has to be.
I was thinking something similar. I am not going to give it a 0 because it exists. John Rhys-Davies legitimately made me smile and laugh because of his ridiculous lines and the fact that he sounds like he's from do another montage right here, because I'm serious. This whole movie, pretty much, he's saying stuff.
Bigfoot are dreamwalkers. They visit children in their sleep and teach them to respect the woods. I wonder where those dreams have gone. Good day, daughters of Davis. It's only a warning, it is not a judgment. It is a prediction of the future based on our actions in the present. No, do not think of life that way, daughter of Davis. Should I be sad for this empty shell? Or be happy for the life that is still growing in the forest because of it? Part of this pine cone still lives in every tree it has created. We owe you a great debt. You are now part of the legend of Sasquatch.
Just because of him, I was thinking a 1/4 foot, which I haven't done that before.
We can get into any fractions we want.
Exactly. We gave a movie a toaster earlier this season.
I like that toaster. That toaster has aged well.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it also 1/2 Bigfoot.
All right, we're in agreement.
This movie's terrible.
Yes.
And I don't want to watch it again.
No, we'll never have to watch this one again.
But if I ever met Rian Johnson, I would skip all the Star Wars questions and go straight to this.
Oh, yeah. I found out when we were doing our research that there is a sequel happening to this film. It's in progress right now. There's a website you can go to. It's the Bigfoot Halloween Adventure, and you can explore that website to see all of our favorite characters are coming back. There's new characters. There's Cletus McNabb Jr.
Yep, he's coming. Dog's back. Basically, everyone's back.
And if you click on the characters tab,
you scroll back. You can see a picture of Dad in his Halloween ducky costume.
So get ready, because that's coming. That we are going to be covering that film. We're going to return to this world. Same writer, same director.
Because legends never leave us as long as we believe.
Welcome to the Bigfoot Breakdown,
where we're going to talk about the Big Feet and the Legend of Sasquatch.
So these big feet are dream walkers.
Yep, they can communicate with children specifically through their dreams, but they can also reveal themselves to other people at will, such as they did with Ranger Steve. Though for all we know, Ranger Steve has known about them since he was a child.
Yeah, these big feet have a strong community. They all live together in a cave. They kind of have some furniture-ish stuff.
They use pine cones for everything, and they kind of built beds and seats and walls and stuff out of pine cones somehow.
They have some understanding of engineering and what do you call, how do you build things? Architecture.
Gotcha, yeah.
They make that miniature dam.
Yeah, they make a mini model of a larger project that they want to do, so I guess, they've got that. They have what appears to be a language that they can only understand, but they can communicate through dreams, I guess, more effectively. I don't know. I guess they do fine through their weird language and physical communication. They have these crystals that they seem to revere in some way. They seem to...
the crystals were just back there. I don't know what there are.
I don't know. The chief had a crystal on his staff, so maybe it's I
thought of it more of a scepter.
It was long. It went all the way to the ground, so...
They fart. They do fart.
Sometimes when they use their ability to puff up and fly.
Yeah, flying, farting, creatures.
Now that we complained about it before and said it was lazy, and maybe it is, but I guess I get that the idea of them pulling air into their bodies to fly around would potentially lead to some flatulence. They kind of seem to exist in these family units where, like, there's Chief and Mama and Baby, and then, like, when they show the whole community, they kind of show them seeming to exist in, like, family units. They seem to have some sort of, like, social hierarchy, because the one's called Chief, and he seems to be their leader. I think that is what allows him to grow that mustache, because none of the other ones have mustaches.
I think they have some kind of a religion because there's talk of the prophecy of the rising water.
Yeah, so and their dreams, at least the dreams that they have, and I guess they can give their magical dream power to children, and then they can kind of form into prophetic dreams, because that girl has a prophetic dream, and then later on says, like, with Bigfoot magic, anything is possible. So
yeah, Bigfoot magic.
They can clearly fly quite high, because at one point we see one fly over an entire city with skyscrapers. So they can get... The altitude doesn't seem to limit them too much. They've got all that fur. Maybe they can deal with the cold up there.
They have some understanding of adhesives, I guess maybe not.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I think that they have understanding of pine cones, and that's kind of... They're trying to... Imagine if, like, the peanut... If George Washington Carver had, like, not just intended to, like, find additional food or, like, medicinal uses for the peanut, and instead was, like, trying to build a new society with the peanut.
Maybe he was. We don't know what his intentions were.
Maybe. I haven't met the man. He's been dead for a very long time.
My last note here is that they will occasionally accept human families into the tribe.
Yeah, they will reveal themselves to chosen people and then kind of keep a relationship going with them. I guess at least while they're there. Maybe that changes when they all kind of disperse at the end. But
it seems like the big thing that these big feet have is an ability to change. They're more open to it. They're more able to deal with a rapidly changing environment than some of the other ones we've encountered.
Yeah, apparently they can change their environment altogether and still thrive.
Yeah.
So, there you go. We might find out more in the sequel. Welcome to SasqWatch, where we crunch the numbers. So in our film today, The Legend of Sasquatch, we had quite a few Sasquatches. A lot more big feet than normal. We've got them living in family units in a large community, probably at least 10 or more, probably more like 20 to 30 big feet shown throughout this thing. And they're on screen for about 11 minutes and 46 seconds, which would make this a new record holder. That is right. You heard it here, folks. New record holder. In addition to that, there are 0 kills in this movie, but there are at least 6 original songs for the soundtrack, not including the one that plays during the credits. We think this movie takes place somewhere in the northwestern United States. It's gotta be... Well, here's what we did. So there's a hydroelectric dam in this movie, and I looked to see where all the hydroelectric dams were in the U.S., because I was like, okay, we'll figure out where all of them are. We'll kind of look at what states they could be in, and then we'll kind of go from there. Well, I looked it up. There's over 90,000. So that wasn't going to work. So what I did was then I found the parts of the U.S., the states that have the highest hydroelectric output, and it matched up pretty well with our general Bigfoot lore where most of these movies take place. With an outlier of New York being one of the top 5 providers, the other 4 states are Oregon, Washington, Montana, and California. So we could be in Northern California, Montana, Washington, but those all have less of the percentage of the total hydroelectric power that's released. It's most likely Oregon. So it could be any of those, but probably somewhere in there. Could just be some fake fantastical place based on the northwestern United States, but then they still need hydroelectric dams there and have ecological problems. So I think it's supposed to be in the real world. But anyway, Oregon, it's my guess.
On our next episode of SasqWatch, I want to get out of the kids' world. All right, I need something a little bit more serious.
That's fine with me. We got another, run-of-the-mill killer forest thing or something?
It is a forest thing, but okay. I think that we've been trying to dabble in all kinds of different arenas this season. So I thought, why don't we get into the mumblecore, indie, art house, neck of the woods and show people, get those eyes unsquinted. You don't know.
There's a Bigfoot movie that exists in that corner.
Yeah,
Is it like that documentary that?
No, it's not a documentary. It's not a documentary. It is. I'm guessing it's going to be coming at you from the heart. We're talking about 2011's Letters from the Big Man.
Did you ever run into anyone suspicious out here? Somebody just didn't belong?
Besides you. I mean, they choose you. They decide when you can see them. They know what you're thinking, and they decide.
You're not scared of some wild creature getting used to being fed?
The Army needs weapons.
Sasquatch.
Let me get some water really quick before we start. Oh, dear.
At one point, I was eating my cornbread, and I was just staring right into the camera as I did it.
And remember to please like and subscribe.
The washing machine got fixed. I went to the dentist. We got some cornbread swirls going on today.
I've got my coffee here.
I actually did get a lightsaber.